Now, the standoff over Greenland is intensifying, with the United States and Europe at loggerheads and threatening counter-tariffs. As reported in the media, President Trump has linked his push to acquire the Arctic island to missing out on the Nobel Peace Prize. European leaders are pushing back, warning against economic coercion as markets react nervously. Mohammad Absarul Hassan reports.
The row to acquire Greenland is intensifying as the United States and the European countries are at loggerheads, moving towards levying counter-tariffs against each other. As reported by news agencies, US President Donald Trump has linked his renewed push to take control of Greenland to his failure to win the Nobel Peace Prize, saying he no longer thinks purely in terms of peace. The comments come as tensions over the Arctic island threaten to reignite a trade war between Washington and Europe. Greenland issue has also caused fresh uncertainty over US-EU trade ties. Just months after both sides reached a fragile agreement to ease tariffs imposed during last year's trade standoff. Trump has vowed to impose escalating tariffs from February 1st on several European countries, including Denmark, Germany, France, Sweden and the Netherlands, as well as Britain and Norway, until the United States is allowed to buy Greenland. European leaders say they will not be blackmailed, as an emergency EU summit in Brussels this week will consider options, including levying tariffs on US goods, or the possible use of bloc's anti-coercive instrument for the first time. Greenlandic Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nelson says Greenland would not be pressured, rather opted to pursue dialogue on the issue of ceding the Arctic to US. Germany and France have pledged a united response, while Britain has urged calm, warning that a tariff war would benefit no one.
Denmark and the people of Greenland can count on our solidarity. We are prepared to support the talks with the United States. These talks should always be based on the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Do you think Donald Trump is genuinely considering military action?
Look, I don't actually. I think that this can be resolved and should be resolved through calm discussion, but with the application of the principles and values that I've set out in terms of who decides the future of Greenland, and making clear that the use of tariffs in this way is completely wrong.
We will of course continue to talk about what's happening around Greenland. The absurdity that an US president is using tariffs as a threat in order to try to buy or take over Greenland. It's absurd on a new level, so to say. But we will continue to talk about how the EU can strengthen its own competitiveness.
The European Union countries to engage at all levels with the United States while preparing its response to US President Donald Trump's new tariff threat.
The EU has consistently underlined its shared transatlantic interest in peace and security in the Arctic, including through NATO. In response to your questions, Jorge, should the threatened tariffs be imposed, the European Union has tools at its disposal and is prepared to respond, because we will do everything necessary to protect EU economic interests.
The row has already rattled markets, sending European shares lower and pushing investors towards safe haven currencies, as fears grow of renewed trade volatility and deeper fractures in the Western alliance. Mohammad Absarul Hassan for DD India.